Welcome to The Explainer. When you think of the justice system, you probably picture a judge, maybe some dramatic courtroom scenes. But the real foundation of justice, it's built on something way less visible. Today, we're going to follow the secret life of a single court file to uncover the hidden rules that make the entire system actually work.
So let me ask you this. What really makes a justice system fair? We always focus on the big moments, right? The lawyers, the verdict. But what if I told you that real fairness, it starts way before a judge even lays eyes on a case? It's all built on a foundation of these seemingly tiny administrative rules.
You can think of this hidden system as the court's operating system, humming along quietly in the background. And to really get it, we're going to follow our main character, a single court file on its entire journey, from the second it's created to its final resting place in the archives.
All right. So every good story needs a strong beginning. And for a court file, that means a really strict set of rules. They're all designed to do just one thing: make sure there's a level playing field before the case even gets off the ground.
Now, the very first people that ever touch a case file, they aren't the lawyers or the judges. They're the judicial aides. You know, the clerks, the court staff. They're the ones on the front lines, the first guardians of the whole process. And check this out. This is the system's first firewall against bias. And notice how absolute it is. If a clerk works on a file that involves, say, their cousin, everything they do related to that file is legally void, like it never even happened. It's a simple rule, but it's an incredibly powerful way to guarantee impartiality from day one.
And to protect our file from anyone messing with it, it goes through this little three-step security ritual. First, every single page is numbered. Then, the first and last pages get signed by the head of the court. And finally, every page gets an official stamp. This creates a secure, verifiable record that you just can't tamper with.
And here's why that really matters. Because all the forms and records are standardized, your file gets treated the exact same way no matter which court it's in. It's this quiet but super powerful force for making sure everyone gets treated equally by the system.
Okay, so the file itself is secure. But what about all the stuff that goes inside it? A case isn't just information, right? It involves real things like original documents and sometimes even money. So how does this system protect all of that?
This rule is so important. When you hand over a critical document, you don't just cross your fingers and hope it gets to the right place. The court has to give you an official, signed and stamped receipt. This isn't just them being polite, it's your proof. It's the system's guarantee that it's accountable for what you've trusted it with.
And you can see here the balance the system is always trying to strike. Of course, you have the right to look at your file and get copies of things, but can you just walk in and take an original document back? Well, generally no. To do that, you need a judge's permission, and you have to leave a certified copy in its place. It's all about transparency, but with built-in safeguards to protect the evidence.
And the exact same idea applies to money. It doesn't matter if it's a court fee or a security deposit. Every single transaction is recorded in its own special book, and yep, you guessed it, you get an official receipt. This makes sure there's total financial transparency and protects every penny the court is holding.
So we have all these fantastic rules, but rules are only as good as the people who follow them, right? Who actually makes sure they're being followed? Who holds people accountable? Well, let's meet the human safeguards of the system.
Now, this isn't some vague, the court is responsible kind of thing. The rules are crystal clear. Every single court employee is personally on the hook for protecting every file. It's their duty, and if they mess up, the consequences are very real.
And we're not just talking about a slap on the wrist. The consequences are layered. An employee who is negligent could be sued for damages, they could face criminal charges if it's something really serious, and they could also face professional discipline. It's this three-tiered system that creates a massive incentive to get it right.
And sitting at the very top of this pyramid of responsibility, that's the court president. They have the final say and the ultimate responsibility for making sure the entire machine, all the procedures, all the work is running just like it's supposed to. The buck really does stop with them.
Okay, so the case is closed. The appeals are over. But what happens to our file now? Its journey still isn't finished. It's about to enter the final phase of its life, the archives.
Once a case is all wrapped up, the file gets sent to a secure archive located right there at the court.
And each level of the court system, from the local courts all the way up to the Supreme Court, keeps its own records, all neatly organized by number. This creates a permanent physical history of justice.
And it turns out our file even has a planned life cycle after the case is over. For the first 30 years, it's kept safe in storage, totally accessible if anyone needs a copy. After that 30-year mark, most of the day-to-day procedural paperwork can actually be discarded. But, and this is the important part, not everything.
This shows you exactly how it breaks down. The core of the case record is preserved. The final judgment, the ultimate decision, that gets kept forever. And any original documents you submitted, they're either returned to you or kept safely. It's really only the procedural clutter that gets cleared out.
And what this all means is that the results of justice are never forgotten. The final decisions that shape our lives and set legal precedents, they're preserved and made accessible pretty much forever.
So, as we followed our file through its whole secret life, we've seen that it's this invisible system of rules about receipts and stamps and archives that really holds up the promise of a fair trial. They are the silent guardians of justice.
But all this leaves us with a huge question for the future. I mean, these rules were designed for a world of paper and ink. As our court records go digital, how do we make sure this incredible system of trust and permanence survives? How do we build digital archives that are just as secure? Thank you for watching The Explained.